Welcome, everyone, to the Neurodiverse Teacher Podcast. Today, my guest is Moshe Goldstein. I'm really excited to have him here. He is the author of Starter Mindset, which at its core is about starting a company or passion when you are young or inexperienced. Moshe is often described as a creative and out-of-the-box thinker. There is no problem that he is not willing to take head on, and this passion drives him to relentlessly pursue not just the easy answer, but to find long-lasting solutions to problems. Having a well-rounded experience of many different subjects allows Moshe to understand the daily struggles of all people and come up with solutions to problems that are laser-focused. Overall, Moshe loves to see people succeed, which I have to say I love, and I could not agree more. So welcome, Moshe, to the Neurodiverse Teacher Podcast. We are really excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Absolutely. So I want to jump right into it with you. Can you tell me a little bit more about your book, Starter Mindset, what your inspiration was for it, and any details you can give me and my listeners about why they should go out and read this book?
So Starter Mindset, which I'm holding, I have a copy of it right here, published about last month. And this book took me over 2 years to write. I started before in 2020, right before the pandemic started. I always had this idea in my head that I would hopefully get the chance to write this book. And the inspiration from the book really starts from me and my own journey and through my experiences in college, where as I'm going through college and I'm learning more and more information, it came to a realization to me that there's no real guide to show someone where to put that information to use and how to best use those skills you're acquiring to build and develop your own path. I always felt like the paths that were more conventional were as far as pursuing internships or careers, those to me sounded very ordinary in terms of it didn't really speak to me and my skill set. And I always wondered, is there something I can do for myself to use the skills I have to build my own brand, my own company, my own business, to create my own unique, carve out my own unique little niche. And so I decided that I would like to explore this idea. And so I started by researching and learning more about young people who are under 25 who have started when they're young and inexperienced, and they don't have much success to build on, and yet have had extraordinary success very quickly. So I took that idea, and that's how I started with the idea of Starter Mindset.
I like that. Now, let me ask you a question. Maybe you came across this when you were looking things up or not, but did you find that there was a difference between people who were young, who go ahead and they pursue their passions and they go after it, they have that starter mindset, versus adults who might feel more stuck, have a harder time maybe putting together those thoughts or finding that motivation to start things? I don't know if there was any research or anything that came across it, or maybe even just your opinion on what you think is the difference between a 25-year-old who goes after it and a 25-year-old who feels maybe hesitant or scared to go ahead and start something that they're passionate about.
So I've had discussing this book now with all different people, and I've had such different results when I speak to people who are 25 and younger, and when I speak to people who are well into their careers and have already are well past 25. And what I found is that people who are like 25 and they're optimistic, they haven't really quote unquote started anything yet. They want to know what is out there for them and what can I go, how can I achieve that something for myself, as opposed to someone who's already well into the career. They start to kind of feel like their time has passed. They've kind of missed their opportunity. They kind of wish they could still have the opportunity, but they start to look, how can I give someone else that opportunity that I might have missed. But everyone still kind of feels like starting young is the best chance for you, and the best time as well.
I like that. Now, let me ask you then, is the book just geared for somebody that's a younger audience, or do you think there could be somebody who maybe is a little bit older and they did get up to a point in their career where they go, you know what, I want something different. I have more passions, I have more interests, and I'm going to kind of start anew. Could the book still apply to somebody who's in that position, who's a little bit older, but is looking to make a change or pursue a new passion?
Definitely. This book is, I would say, very modern. It's got social media, technology, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, all of these more newer industries that have opened up over the past couple of years, which just have really, we see it every day, but how do I use it for my own business? How do I maximize and pivot into that? That is something that people can learn from this book, even if they're already in their career, because the people I've interviewed in the book come from all industries. And so all of these lessons and ideas are helpful. They even help me. And so if you're looking to learn more about those industries, then it is definitely for you. And then obviously, if you're under the age of 25 and you also want inspiration, you want to see someone else who is kind of in your age gap, who is just really doing extraordinary things and having great results, then this book is also for you. So it's kind of got something for everybody.
I love that. I love it. A lot of things that I often talk about when I'm being talked about education or individuals is that so many young people, especially people who might be neurodiverse, and if you're familiar or not familiar with neurodiversity, people who have autism, ADHD, dyslexia, sensory processing disorder, and oftentimes they get so many negative messages sent to them during their youth while they're in school, and they end up feeling, I think, a sense of or lack of self-confidence when they leave school. And it almost takes a decade to rebuild that confidence and realize, hey, I'm actually a lot smarter and a lot more capable and a lot brighter than I ever realized I was, because now I'm focusing on areas of interest. So I'm curious, do you think your book is something that could speak to maybe somebody who is freshly out of high school or freshly out of college, who has struggled in the past with maybe some of those insecurities, who's actually a really bright individual, but spent a lifetime of getting these negative messages and is looking to maybe reinstill some of that confidence in themselves? So hopefully it doesn't take them a decade of having to rediscover themselves and what they're capable of.
For sure. I mean, one of the stories I write in this book is about Richard Branson, and now he has dyslexia and he has learning disabilities, and I'm sure many people told Richard Branson that he would fail and have told him he would fail, and that he couldn't do the quote unquote the things that most people are doing. Yet last year I saw him the first person to regular citizen to go into space in his own spacecraft, and his inspiration. So I read about him in my book, and I read about adversities that people overcome and are overcoming in the book, and how those adversities are obstacles, but they are overcomable.
I like that. So share with me then a little bit about what you're hoping your book will inspire in those that read it. Is it to overcome the adversity? Is it to feel the confidence to be able to take a next step? What is the ultimate goal that you would like the book to have on its readers?
I want this book to speak to people and their passions, and to show them that you can take what you like doing, your passion, your hobby, and you could turn it into a successful business or career, which you can build out. And you don't maybe have to change courses and go into a more traditional setting. If you feel that this is something that you can do, then you should give it a shot. And you can learn from people in my book who have given it a shot. What have they done? What adversities do they face? What are things I am going to see? And then how can I further myself along?
I like that. Well, with that, I'm going to flip the conversation a little bit. And I was hoping that maybe you wouldn't mind taking my listeners on a journey of who you were as a student and speak to any struggles you may have had to overcome to achieve success as an adult, since it sounds like you're really trying to help guide youth to be able to do just that. I'm curious if your story aligns with a little bit of that, and your goal to maybe help others to be able to achieve what you're also achieving now.
I mean, one of the things I have to say is I am still a student. I'm graduating in December from
I'm sorry,
Towson.
let me go back and say when you were like a high school student.
When I was a high school student. Well, when I was in high school, I've always been a very out of the box in terms of the way I think, approach things, but I've always been a conventional person in terms of I do things traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see things differently and I do approach problems differently. And that does have challenges. It has challenges when you're trying to communicate with teams. It has challenges when you're trying to learn a subject that teacher's teaching and you just either don't agree with it or it doesn't you don't see it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are lots of struggles I had in high school, and definitely being independent in the way I approach things. And so that having that, I felt like I kind of need to take my own path to really do the things I believe in that I want to do.
I like that. And then tell me, as somebody who is a university student, then what is some of the differences that you see now in who you are as a student compared to who you were as a high school student? Are there differences in the fact that you're getting to focus on things that you like, or just more confidence? I mean, give me some kind of a side-by-side comparison of how you've grown as a student now that you're at the university level.
I think one of the big differences when you're in high school versus university is the ability to make decisions and to make your own choices. When you're in high school, you're kind of just going along with the crowd, and you're kind of for most of us, we're just put there. We don't have really much say in how we got there or where we are. We kind of just going along, and our success really is just that. That is what our success really depends on. If we're in the perfect setting, that's great. But if we're not, or we want something else, then maybe it's a bit harder to appreciate what you're learning in high school, as opposed to when you're in university, where they have thousands of classes, hundreds of different programs, and they have all different people who come from all over the world and who have all different perspectives on things. You can find yourself and you can find where you belong or where you think you belong, and you can start to create your own image of who you want to be. And so for me, when I was in college and I was exploring all of these industries, that definitely had a big impact on me.
So this isn't a question, this is more of a statement, but I just hope you know that I am incredibly impressed by you, especially as a young person. I feel like you are well beyond where I was when I was your age, and the fact that it took me a long time to even kind of come to the realizations that you have as a young adult, and I'm just totally blown away by it and incredibly impressed. So that, again, not a question, just a statement that I wanted you to know and hear as somebody who's a teacher. I thought it was important for you to hear that it's incredible the things that you were currently doing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So let me ask you, if my listeners wanted to learn more about you, more about your work, if they wanted to reach out to you, what would be the best way for them to do so?
So I have a website, STARTERMINDSET.com. You can learn all about me in my about page. You can learn more about the book, and you can contact me with a contact form. You can learn how you can become a part of the book. You can message me your own stories. I'd be happy to post on my blog, and you can connect with me there. I read all my messages, and I respond to all of them that come in.
That's fantastic. So tell me, what is your future looking like then? What are your aspirations and your goals and your next step? You're already an established author. You have gone to school. What do you see as sky the limit for your future?
Well, I see so many options, but one of the options I really like is to help people and to help people to succeed and achieve things. And so for me, I'm currently pursuing a kind of a role of trying to help people develop their ideas and concept their ideas, but
Mhm.
also exploring roles in patent law and prosecution. So I
Wow.
could and so I can help people to not only formulate their idea, but go and run with it, turn that idea into results and products, so that everyone could be happy and everyone could benefit from it, and everyone can learn from all of those great innovations and ideas that everyone comes up with every day, and we could really use more of that. So I'd love to help people and everyone to be able to take whatever their idea is and just share it with everybody.
I love it. I love it. Well, let me ask you this too. What have I not asked you that you would love to make sure that my listeners hear? Either a story, something you're working on, just a general statement. I want to make sure that you have this opportunity right now to share anything that I haven't yet touched on tonight.
Well, I'd just like to share about this book that I wrote, Starter Mindset, and something I often share is the cover, and the cover was kind of picked out with me and the cover designer, and they really hit it right on. It's a light bulb, but it's a shattered light bulb. It's disrupting ideas. It's kind of like that energy that I feel is like, that builds up in people, and then they kind of sometimes they need something to free it and to open it up. And sometimes it just needs to be shattered. You just need to completely break it. But once you do, those ideas start to flourish and to become amazing things. And so that's what I hope that people can gain inspiration from reading the book.
I love it. I love it. Well, before we go, I have one last question for you. And it is a question that I ask every guest who comes on the show. And the question is, if you could send a message to students and or young adults right now that may be struggling with school or struggled with school, either academically or socially, what would be the message that you would share with them?
So, I mean, one message I would share is that I am a teacher. I do teach biology. I teach 60 students, and I get to see everyone's personalities and everyone. And the one thing I could say is that I haven't had a student who hasn't struggled at something.
Mhm.
And so, just because you might be struggling in one thing, it might just take you more time to find what you're really good at. And some people are quicker to do that. Some people take longer. That doesn't mean you shouldn't keep chasing, and you'll get there. You just sometimes it takes more time.
I love it. That's a great message. Well, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I truly appreciate it. I want to encourage all of my listeners to please go to Moshe's website, check him out, Starter Mindset, read the book. I think that there's going to be a lot of helpful information in there to help you feel like you have what it takes to go after your goals and definitely achieve them. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much for having me on, and it's been great talking to you.